What a way to finish off this 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. Heartbreak for Denny Hamlin once again, while Kyle Larson swoops in to claim his second NASCAR Cup Series championship. And welcome back to another episode of Talkin NASCAR. I am your host, Andrew. Hope your weekend has been a good one. This is going to be the second time I'm talking to you guys today. And in this episode, I'll be recapping the NASCAR Cup Series Championship race, the season finale from Phoenix, Arizona, Phoenix Raceway. An incredible race overall. I have some thoughts on the playoff format once again. I have thoughts on the champion, Kyle Larson. First off, congratulations to Kyle Larson. And I have thoughts on the racing product overall as a whole today. But let's go ahead and start out by talking about Stage 1. Now, Stage 1 was definitely going to be very interesting because we would get a feel for how the race would really kind of flow as the day went on. You would have the race starting at about noon on the West Coast. I believe it was starting at 2 here, Central Time where I live. So that was going to be different. So we were going to kind of see how the tires are going to wear, the new softer tire compounds that Goodyear has brought to the racetrack and these shorter tracks as the year has gone along. So we'd really get to see how things would turn out. Denny Hamlin would be on pole, leading the championship to the green flag. And in practice specifically, I want to focus on that. We had some issues in practice with tire issues, specifically the Toyotas. I mean, Riley Herbst had a tire issue. I know Hamlin had a tire issue but was able to get it fixed. I know Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe had tire issues. I know AJ Allmendinger had a tire issue as well for calling racing, and he's a Chevrolet. I believe he hit the wall very, very hard in practice, had to go to a backup car, and things would not get much better for AJ Allmendinger as the day went on. But early on in Stage 1, it was pretty calm overall. William Byron would win the first stage as he definitely looked like the best long-run car on track today. Hamlin, it did seem like he would fall off a lot on the short run, but on the long run, but on the short run, Denny Hamlin was extremely dominant. I mean, in Stage 2, he was able to pull out to 3-second leads on the field, and pretty much in Stage 1, we got our first long run, and it's really the longest run we would have with the race. It was about 61 laps, so we really got to see that. I believe Stage 1 was kind of disrupted by a John Hunter Nemechek spin early on in the race. I believe it was pretty soon after the start of the race. John Hunter Nemechek got spun after contact with Todd Gilliland, I believe. So that kind of disrupted everything, but still, very long run in Stage 1. No pit stops, I believe, but everyone was kind of abiding their time a little bit, taking it easy on the tires, seeing how the tires would wear out on a really long run. And it looked like so far that Hamlin was not very good on the long run, but very, very good on the short run, while Byron and Ryan Blaney were very good on the long run. And guys like Kyle Larson and Chase Briscoe, they were definitely needed to have some work done to their cars. But like I already mentioned, William Byron did win Stage 1, while Ryan Blaney finished in second, Hamlin in third. Austin Cindric actually climbed his way up inside the top 5, finishing in fourth. Kyle Larson in fifth, Carson Hocevar in sixth, Alex Bowman in seventh, Joey Logano in 8th, Chris Buescher in 9th, and Chase Briscoe in 10th, while Bell just outside the top 10 for stage points. And I believe all 4 Championship 4 competitors were featured inside the top 10, all getting stage points. Technically, a technicality, I guess they got stage points, while Briscoe started deep in the field a little bit. Byron started up front. Hamlin started up front. Larson was in a little bit deeper in the field as well. But immediately, all 4 Championship 4 contenders did look competitive right off the bat. But Stage 2 would get underway, and even before Stage 2 got underway, we actually got some reports that Denny Hamlin was actually having another clutch issue. And this whole season, Hamlin had been plagued by mechanical gremlins throughout the year. Engine issues, throttle issues at Talladega, clutch issues back at Kansas, I'm pretty sure. So Hamlin and his entire team have been plagued by the mechanical bug this year, along with the other things that he's been having to deal with both on the track and off the track as well. So that was something to keep an eye out for. But regardless, Hamlin in Stage 2 was able to pull out to a 3-second lead on the field until we got a caution on lap 108 for SVG, who spun down the front straightaway after having a tire go down. And Chase Briscoe as well got very, very lucky on this caution because he had a right rear tire down when SVG had his caution come out. Briscoe had to pit twice to both get 4 new tires on the car and also had to check for a vibration possibly. He had to start back in 32nd on a restart. Kyle Busch also had a right rear tire go down. Hamlin was able to open up another 2-second lead on Blaney after the restart. So again, clearly Hamlin was one of the best on the short run, and on the long run was able to kind of manage his gap. He wasn't really able to pull away even more. He just kind of got out to a really big lead on the short run and was really able to manage it on the way there. Lap 149, we get another caution for AJ Allmendinger. Like I said, had an issue in practice, would have another issue today. Has a right front tire go down into turns 3 and 4, just completely went straight on him, heading out to the outside wall and hit the wall very, very hard for AJ Allmendinger, and he got out of the car. He knew that that number 16 car was toast. So tough break for AJ Allmendinger. He's been having a rough go of it lately. I mean, Talladega had a very, very hard hit. Had that big fire under the hood at Talladega. Martinsville last week was not very good for him, so Allmendinger's just been getting hits left and right. He's just been taking hits left and right. That's probably the more appropriate wording I should use. But either way, Allmendinger having a rough go of it, not getting any easier here at Phoenix. But Chase Briscoe on this new yellow flag was able to jump up into the teens from the 20s after getting a really good stop on pit road. And we would get to the final run in stage 2. Ryan Blaney actually, though, was able to stick with Denny Hamlin. It was a little bit shorter run, but Blaney was able to stick with Hamlin. But it was still once again proven that he and Byron were very good on the long run, while Hamlin was able to be really good on the short run again, just kind of manage that gap. But Hamlin would win stage 2 under caution. I believe it was due to AJ Allmendinger having that tire go down on his car, so that would end stage 2 under caution. Hamlin would win stage 2, followed by Ryan Blaney, William Byron, and Kyle Larson in 3rd and 4th. Christopher Bell had climbed his way back up inside the top 10. Chastain as well into 6th. Chase Briscoe in 7th. Joey Logano in 8th. Hosfar in 9th. And then Chase Elliott in 10th. And pretty much that was it for stage 2. I just realized that I had some of my mic settings wrong, so if you heard like some weird background noise, I apologize for that. Just try to tune it out the best you can. But anyway, moving on into stage 3. Under caution for the next pit stop cycle, Hamlin had a pretty slow right side or slow issue on the left side of his car. I believe he had a left side tire down on his car, so that made it hard for the car to get jacked up. So he ended up losing all his track position, falling back down to the 10th. So William Byron would actually take the lead off pit road and lead the way into stage 3. And pretty soon after, on lap 215, Kyle Larson would actually pit with a flat right front issue. So all 3 of the Championship 4 contenders except William Byron, so Hamlin, Larson, and Briscoe, all have had tire issues in this race. And speaking of Briscoe, on lap 216, one lap later, Briscoe would have to pit with a flat right rear tire, and Byron, again, the only one not to have issues. A couple laps later, we would get a caution for Carson Hocevar, and he would have a flat right front tire on his car. So Hocevar is actually having a really good day here at Martinsville after kind of a cold stretch of races since the summer stretch of the year. So tough break for Carson Hocevar, but this kind of played things a little bit awkwardly because you had Chase Briscoe and Kyle Larson both one lap down from their pit stops. Larson would end up getting the wave around and would have to start back in the rear of the field. After taking the wave around, he'd have to go to the rear of the field in 22nd position. So he's behind a bunch of lap down cars, while Chase Briscoe got the free pass and got himself back on the lead lap. So that would play things a little bit of a curveball. So now is pretty much Byron and Hamlin fighting it out for the rest of the race. And we get on the next caution cycle about lap 250 after a little bit of a green flag run. Elliott, Byron, and Hamlin and Blaney had all kind of broken away from the pack, and Kyle Larson, meanwhile, was kind of stuck in the mid-20s, kind of working his way through traffic again. So that's when I kind of thought, oh man, Larson's kind of done for. Like, he's going to have to really do a lot of stuff. He's going to have to use a little bit of pit strategy. But with these softer tires, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to hold on. While Chase Briscoe was in the teens, just outside the top 10, again, kind of struggling to go forward with some older tires. Lap 258, though, we would get a wreck. Austin Cindric would wreck from 10th with a pretty fierce impact in the outside wall, kind of destroyed the rear end of his car. Big damage for Cindric, who was, again, having a pretty solid day. Penske overall was doing very, very well, again, on the short flat ovals once again. So Cindric would wreck with 54 laps to go. So this created a little bit of an awkward timing for pit strategy because 54 laps to go. Tires, you don't think you can run them 54 laps but it's not really like a good time to do two stops. So it was definitely a very interesting time to make pit stops. But regardless, Hamlin and William Byron lead the way, lap 267 on the restart, and Hamlin only about 10 laps later opened up about a second gap on William Byron. And one lap later, J.J. Yaley would actually have a caution come out for him. He hit the wall after having a right front tire go down. So J.J. Yaley, I want to shout out real quick, was not running last today for the NY Racing number 44 car, was actually doing all right for NY Racing standards, a part-time entry, small team, not doing horrible for J.J. Yaley. Just kind of tough that he had a bit of an issue on track with the right front tire going down. So this kind of reset the field once again, and now some teams came back down pit road without tires. They did not have sticker tires. Most teams did not have sticker tires. Scuff tires were put on some teams. And on lap 379, we had more pit strategy as well. Briscoe and Kyle Larson took two tires, two scuff tires, specifically for Chase Briscoe. I'm not sure if Kyle Larson took scuff tires. I mean, he may have put on stickers, while William Byron and Denny Hamlin took four tires. We get the restart going, lap 384. Hamlin battling with Kyle Larson and Chase Briscoe actually went three wide coming to lap 385 to the start finish line. It was pretty much four wide with all four championship four contenders. Like, that is a cool picture moment, if you know what I mean. Like, I bet some of the photographers in the infield were having a field day because you had Larson and Briscoe on the outside, kind of loose on older tires. You had Hamlin in the middle, and then you had William Byron on the way bottom looking to take the lead. So that was pretty much epic. That was when I saw that on TV, I was like, wow, that is insane. That is what the playoff format really, really does. Pretty soon about lap 405, so maybe about 20 laps later, Denny Hamlin had opened up a 3-second lead and was just praying for no caution. And what we get? We get a caution for William Byron. A right front tire went down on that 24 car. And I'm going to take this moment to criticize race control just a little bit. They seemed a little trigger happy with the caution button. In my opinion, you have 3 laps to go. William Byron, yes, he does have a tire down. He's slow on the track, but I don't know if you really need to throw the caution right there. I really don't know. With 3 laps to go, you can kind of see if William Byron can get off the race surface, get to pit road. If he can't and he's stuck on the track, he's really, really slow. He's a danger to the rest of the field. Then maybe you have to throw the caution. But I don't know. Throughout this whole race, even last weekend at Martinsville, it seemed like NASCAR was a little trigger happy with the caution button. So that is something that kind of frustrated me a little bit. But there was more things that kind of frustrated me in this race. But anyway, we get another yellow flag pit stop cycle. 3 cars would stay out. Keselowski, Priest, and Bowman would all stay out. Alex Bowman had a tire issue during this race as well. A lot of drivers had tire issues. Like Noah Gragson had an issue at one point. I'm pretty sure Cindric had a tire issue at one point. But on pit road, Kyle Larson would take 2 tires. Hamlin would take 4 and drop down all the way to 10th, while Kyle Larson was in 5th. The 3 drivers staying out, and Larson had 2 guys in front of him as well. So everyone else in front of Hamlin inside the top 10 had 2 tires, and then Keselowski, Priest, and Bowman all had no tires. They had not taken tires. They were on old, crispy, worn out tires. So this was going to be an incredible finish. And these were the moments that make the playoff format kind of what it is. The playoff format creates these dramatic moments. Who's going to be the first to the line in the championship race? If NASCAR's goal of the playoff format was to increase ratings and entertainment value, I would say they finished. I would say they accomplished that. They accomplished that. And with this playoff format, I'm willing to concede, as much as I am going to rant about the playoff format, like an angry rant, pretty soon. You'll see. As much as I'm going to do that, I will give NASCAR the credit that the playoff format is a good thing for entertainment value. I'm just going to say that. That's what the NASCAR playoff format does, and that's pretty much what overall sports want to do in the playoffs, create these really good entertainment moments. But then on the restart, you have Keselowski and Priest on the front row, Larson in 5th on the outside, and Denny Hamlin on the inside in 10th. Into turn 1, Kyle Larson is just able to plow around the outside. I thought those older tires, those 2 tires that Larson had, were not going to be enough, but the 3 cars at the front, Bowman, Priest, and Keselowski, did not have the fire off speed like everyone else did, and Kyle Larson was just able to freight train his way around the outside up into 3rd, while Denny Hamlin, stuck on the inside, could not get a run off the corner, was really stuck inside the 10th position. And Ryan Blaney as well worked his way back up in the conversation into third as well, battling with Larson and Keselowski. And pretty soon on the final lap into turns 3 and 4, Blaney actually made a really nice move up the inside of Brad Keselowski and took the victory. So Ryan Blaney once again getting a win at Phoenix. Penske once again getting a win at Phoenix. It's insane. Ryan Blaney wasn't big in the conversation, but was up inside the top 10 pretty much all day. Same with his teammate of Logano, Cindric, Josh Berry as well. Was very, very speedy on a short track once again for all the Penske drivers. So Ryan Blaney would pick up the victory with Larson being ahead of Denny Hamlin, who finished in sixth. Heartbreak for Denny Hamlin once again. He got news this week that his father, Dennis Hamlin Sr., had a terminal illness. This would be the final time that Denny Hamlin would be able to compete for a championship with his father still on Earth with us. And I was really rooting for Denny Hamlin. I know that's something that I would probably not have said maybe last year. I would not be rooting for Denny Hamlin, but with all that he's done this year, him getting his first championship just seemed right. And it sucks that Hamlin did not do that this year, and I would have really liked to see what could have happened if he did this or did that. But I got to give credit to Kyle Larson as well. Did a little bit of pit strategy. Cliff Daniels called a great race. Again, great strategy by Cliff Daniels, putting those two tires on, getting the track position while Hamlin took the fresher tires, did not take the track position. So 2 laps was not long enough for Hamlin. It was just too short. He needed a little bit longer of a run. So maybe if Hamlin took a little bit of two tires, maybe he stayed out, maybe he would have been able to hold off Kyle Larson, but that's neither here or there. Congratulations to Kyle Larson on getting his second championship of his career, and good show to Denny Hamlin, William Byron, and as well Chase Briscoe. All battled through issues with tires. They all did a pretty good job at managing that. William Byron as well. With his tire issue, actually was out of the race, finished in 33rd. So, I mean, it will not. Byron finishing in 33rd will not tell you the story of his race. He was battling with Hamlin, and that tire issue late really kind of changed the entire outlook of the rest of this race in just a matter of moments. And for both him and Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, that caution was insane. But looking at the rest of the finishing results here, Blaney getting the victory. Congratulations to him. Playing spoiler on the playoff field. Brad Keselowski finished in second. I guess regardless of tires and how much they fell off, track position still was still king with 2 laps to go. I guess we still learn that for next year, so maybe Hamlin will use that next year. Larson in third did not lead a single lap today and is the champion. I'm gonna have more to say on that because I do have some thoughts on that. I've kind of calmed down as the more I'm sitting here, kind of talking about this race. 'Cause, like, when I sat down ready to talk about this race, I just wanted to have an angry rant about the playoff format. I'm kind of calmed down a little bit, so I guess I'm going to try to be a little bit more constructive than I was earlier today, talking about the Xfinity Series. Joey Logano finished in fourth, ran up inside the top 10 pretty much all day. Kyle Busch qualified 11th, finished in fifth. But Kyle Busch, these last 2 weeks have been pretty solid for Kyle Busch. Like, he had solid speed last week at Martinsville, got a pretty solid result. And then this week at Phoenix, another short track, finished inside the top 5. So very good job by Kyle Busch. Way to finish your season strong, Kyle. Hopefully next year will be very, very good with Jim Pullman coming in to that group. Denny Hamlin, once again, like, just absolute heartbreak for him. I feel for Denny Hamlin and all the emotions that he's going through and just everything that he's been through. Finishing in sixth, coming up short is unbelievable. And it's almost doesn't seem real that Hamlin finished in sixth, not winning the championship after the race he drove today. Qualified on pole, led the most laps, led 208 laps out of 312, and he didn't come away with the championship trophy. That is absolutely insane. Yeah, I don't have many more words to say and to describe how I'm thinking about this. I'm just gonna move on. Josh Berry inside the top 10 for the Wood brothers, very good on short tracks, like we all know. Michael McDowell finished in eighth for Spire Motorsport after pretty much starting at the back of the field in eighth place. Ryan Preece in ninth, another good short track racer. Wasn't really big in the conversation all day. Again, used a little bit of pit strategy to get up inside the top 10, get that track position, finished in ninth. Chase Elliott in 10th. Led some laps today, led 30 laps. The more laps he's led than pretty much he has at any other race than I can remember this season, maybe apart from Kansas and Atlanta when he won those 2 races. Chase Elliott had a late speeding penalty on pit road, sent him back in the back end of the lead lap. So I think Elliott could have potentially competed for a win if he just held on to his track position, but again, Chase Elliott, those mistakes kind of cost him track position. We saw it before. I believe it was at Martinsville, he had a penalty. I believe at the Roval, he had a penalty as well. So Chase Elliott had some stuff going on in this race and still finished the top 10 results pretty good. Christopher Bell in 11th, kind of a quiet day overall. I thought Bell would have been a little bit more of a bigger factor, but finished in 11th after starting in 20th. So Bell didn't really fire off with great speed in the weekend. Still had flashes of good speed, just didn't really amount to anything. Chris Buescher in 9th. Pretty solid day for him in RFK. All three RFK cars finished inside the top 15 once again. A little bit of pit strategy here and there and some good speed from some other drivers. RFK, pretty solid end to the season. Ross Chastain in 13th, had some really good speed in this race. Overall, really solid season from Chastain. Justin Haley in his final race with Spire Motorsports before he heads down to Calling in the Truck Series next season, finished in 14th. Nice little send-off for Spire Motorsports and Haley. And then Alex Bowman finished in 15th, kind of where he ran pretty much all day. The other guys I want to shout out, Chase Briscoe finished in 18th, led 3 laps, but battled those tire issues pretty much all day, had some tire issues in practice as well. So 18th for Briscoe. Again, really doesn't reflect everything that he did. He had to overcome adversity so many different times, drove up inside the top 10, I think 3 different times after having a tire issue. So Chase Briscoe definitely had a lot of speed. I don't know if it was enough to compete for the championship, but Chase Briscoe, regardless, still had a really solid race. Daniel Suarez in 19th in his final race with Trackhouse Racing had a beautiful scheme on his number 99 car for Freeway Insurance with a pretty big decal of "Thank you, Daniel." Really vibrant kind of car. Lots of really cool things going on there. That was probably my favorite paint scheme of the weekend for Daniel Suarez. So Daniel Suarez, really solid tenure with Trackhouse. Pretty solid note that he is sending it off with. And besides that, I already mentioned William Byron down in 33rd, had that tire issue late after starting in second on the front row, and that tire issue late. Again, it will not tell the full story. Byron led 52 laps today, won a stage. He was very, very good. Just that tire issue, again, in NASCAR can change everything in the matter of 2 seconds. I don't know if you heard that snap. But yeah, that caution really changed everything in about 2 minutes, and that was kind of insane. And then Cindric in 34th after starting in 4th. I believe he had to come back down pit road with an issue. Then Ty Dillon and Casey Mears all had issues as well. Bubba Wallace had an issue. AJ Allmendinger in 38th had an issue as well. AJ Allmendinger, man, he just couldn't catch a break. Crashed in practice, had to go to a backup car, didn't qualify, started in last, finishes in last. Like, man, at least it wasn't he didn't have the performance of Dawson Sutton, wrecked before he could even complete a lap. So I guess that's something AJ can hold on to. Now, before I rate this race on the triple R scale, I once again have to talk about the playoff format. And I talked about this earlier today in my recap of the Xfinity Series Championship with Jesse Love winning the championship. This whole weekend has really kind of put on display the shortcomings of the NASCAR playoff format. And last night in the Xfinity Series, the one race winner take all championship, the whoever finishes first among them all is the race winner, the championship winner. When Connor Zilic clearly was the best driver throughout this whole season. Jesse Love, again, congratulations to him getting that victory, but he was not the best driver throughout this entire year. And same thing with Kyle Larson. Denny Hamlin ran the best race in today, at least. And Kyle Larson, he did finish ahead of Denny Hamlin. And I will say, in the Cup Series, no one really kind of stood out as I am the true contender. Like, I guess Hamlin kind of took that kind of step forward later in the year. Like at Las Vegas, he got that victory, stepped up despite the mechanical gremlins. So I guess that was a thing that kind of showed up. Hamlin kind of emerged as the best driver throughout this entire year, has the most wins. So heading into this race, it definitely seemed like Hamlin was the guy that was poised to be champion throughout this entire year. Had the most wins, best overall season, despite all the things kind of tugging at his intention. New kid at home, has to deal with the race team. He's an owner, has to deal with the lawsuit. And again, with everything that Hamlin has gone through, his dad also having declining health, all that in the back of his mind, him still being able to manage his entire racing career and put up a very competitive race and being in the position to win a championship is still very, very impressive. So I got to give the flowers to Denny Hamlin. So, and this race kind of put like the one shortcoming that this race highlighted for me was that the one race final round definitely kind of showcased that. Like the one race to decide the champion, that shortcoming was showcased in this race, because I really wonder what would have happened if there were 3 races in this round, or 2 races even, when you have Larson and Hamlin both fighting for it. I wonder what could have been with that, and that's the kind of thing that I talked about earlier today. Sample size is so important in NASCAR. Like, over the full course of the season, Conor Zilic was the best guy in the Xfinity Series. He didn't win the championship. Corey Heim in the Truck Series was the overall best guy. He did win the championship. In the Cup Series, I would say no one really had broken away, which would have really made the championship fight really, really exciting without a playoff format, because you'd have Larson, Hamlin, Byron all battling for it. Byron won the regular season championship but had fallen off in the playoffs. You have as well Chase Briscoe, who really kind of came on late in the playoffs, like Denny Hamlin. You would have had a really compelling championship fight regardless of a playoff format, and that's really kind of what upsets me here. If you didn't have a playoff format, you would have still had a very, very exciting championship race today without a playoff format. So I that's what I feel as well. The shortcomings were exposed this entire weekend, and throughout this weekend, it has really convinced me. I have been convinced that the full season points format may be the way to go. It may be the format that needs to be implemented for next season. I am still open, though, to something along the lines of a chase format from the mid 2010s, where you have still the qualifiers, the top 16 in points, no win in your end. That is really what I'm hoping for. No win in your end, and a bigger sample size. That's what we need to see. I'm all for having eliminations and stuff like that, but the points resetting, you don't need that. It makes things so much more complicated. Stages and stage points makes things way more complicated as well. And overall, the one race, winner take all championship race with the final four drivers all competing for it. Points reset. Whoever finishes ahead of the all other four or the three championship drivers makes it way more complicated. So, yeah, NASCAR maybe just needs to go back to simplicity for a sake, whether that be with just a bigger sample size with the full season points format, or you have a chase style where you have still the qualifiers, you have eliminations, but maybe no points resetting, no winning you're in. The guys that truly deserve to be there with just overall bigger sample size in the playoffs, who can step up, like Chase Briscoe and Denny Hamlin did in the playoffs, and like Byron kind of fell off, like Larson really fell off in the summer stretch in the regular season. Like, maybe that's the way to go. Hopefully NASCAR will hear our criticism and will kind of act on it. Maybe tomorrow, maybe this week, maybe in 2 weeks after this entire championship has died down. So I'm very proud of myself, though. I am very proud of myself that I was very constructive about this, because coming into this, I thought I was going to just be yelling into my microphone and yelling to you guys, and you guys would be like, okay, I'm turning this guy off. This guy sucks. So I'm glad that I actually was very constructive tonight. But now it's time to move on to my race review rating, the triple R scale, as I like to call it here on Talkin NASCAR with Andrew Volkman. All the factors of this race. The tire strategy, I thought was very interesting. All the blowouts definitely made things a little bit interesting. A lot more cautions than I expected. Compared to last night's Xfinity Series race, not a lot of cautions, which that's definitely something I was not expecting tonight. But overall, Racing Craft was very, very good. You had some side-by-side battles. You had guys like Denny Hamlin opening up huge gaps on the field, but on the long run, Byron and Blaney started to come back to him a little bit and made things a little bit more interesting. So that was definitely very, very good. Pit strategy was very good once again. Tires threw everybody kind of for a loop. The cautions were a little bit awkward timed, especially late in the going there with those consecutive cautions. That late caution by Byron definitely spiced things up a little bit. So this race was overall very good. It's just the outcome of the championship is going to mire this race for me. Without the things that came with the championship format and Kyle Larson being the champion, which I'm still congratulating him on because it is well deserved. Larson and Cliff Daniels. This is a team sport. At the end of the day, it's not all on the drivers, and I I still got to give them credit, even though maybe he's not the rightful champion, maybe he isn't the most deserving, maybe he wasn't the best driver throughout the year. Still got to congratulate him. So with that, man, this is without that, I think this race would have easily been a B to B plus, kind of 85 to 90, that kind of range. But because of how this turned out, it's pretty heavy of a docking points wise. So it's going to be a 70% for me, on the cusp of being a D, C minus. That kind of fits it for me. The racing was overall was very, very good. It's just the championship is going to really knock it down for me. So let me know down in the comments what you think of the race, the NASCAR Cup Series championship race from Phoenix, Arizona. Next year, it will not be at Phoenix. It'll be at Homestead, Miami. I am very excited for that. The season finale at Homestead. Oh boy, that's going to be very exciting. And the prospect of a possible new playoff format, I'm holding on to that, even though I'm not entirely confident at this, because NASCAR has made some weird decisions in the past. I'm not doubting that they can make a weird decision with the new playoff format again. You never know. So let me know down in the comments what you thought of this race. Do you think the playoff format should change and what it should be changed to? Let me know down in the comments below. But that will do it for me, folks. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Talkin NASCAR. If you missed it these past couple days, I've been pumping out episodes. Yet earlier today, I posted the Xfinity recap, the Xfinity Series Championship recap. In that one, I'm definitely yelling a lot more about the finishing results of that one. And on Saturday, I posted my Truck Series recap along with some other news that I needed to cover as well. So you can go check those other 2 episodes out. And if you like this episode and those other 2 episodes for that matter, if you do go listen to those, I got over 60 episodes that you can go listen to from pretty much starting back in May with the Coca-Cola 600. But it's been an incredible journey through this entire first season of the NASCAR Cup Series and overall this NASCAR season on this show. I'm kind of sad to see it end. I'm kind of sad to see this inaugural season for me on this show end, but I'm really excited to see what the rest of silly season will do, the rest of the off season will do, and I'm really excited for next season. I can't wait for the Daytona 500 even more than I am now. I've never felt so much anticipation for the Daytona 500 than I have now. So I'm very excited. Thank you for tuning in to this season of Talkin NASCAR. I'm not going away. Episodes may be a little bit less frequent than usual, but thank you for all for tuning in this season. Thank you for all your support in this season of Talkin NASCAR and the NASCAR Cup Series. And I will see you in the next episode, everybody. See ya.